Single dad took in a lost boy and his ailing grandma. Next morning, a black SUV changed his life. It happened on a rainy night, the kind of night when the sky feels heavy and the world seems to hold its breath. A single dad named Armin stood on the creaking porch of his small, worn-out house, staring at the trembling silhouettes approaching through the storm. A boy, no older than 10, holding the frail hand of an elderly woman who looked moments away from collapsing. They were drenched, shivering, and lost. But what shook Armand wasn't their condition. It was the unmistakable fear in the boy's eyes, the kind that only comes from running away from something far darker than the night. And in that split second, Armand realized that he was standing on the edge of a decision that would change everything. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of helping those who cross our path for a reason, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us bring more stories like this to life. Armand had been raising his 8-year-old daughter, Hania, alone ever since his wife passed away 2 years earlier. Life had been a tug-of-war between grief and survival. He worked long shifts as a mechanic and still struggled to keep the lights on. The house was small, the bills were many, and the loneliness left behind by his wife often echoed louder than the rain on the tin roof. Yet despite everything, Armand's heart had a softness he never lost. So when the boy and the elderly woman nearly collapsed at his doorstep, he didn't think twice. He brought them inside, wrapped them in blankets, and offered food even though groceries were running low. The boy's name was Rafi. His grandmother was Nargis. They had been traveling from town to town after losing their home to medical debt, living in shelters, parks, and abandoned buildings. Nargis's health had worsened over the weeks, leaving Rafi to take care of her with the fragile hands of a child too young for such responsibility. The storm had separated them from the group they were traveling with, leaving them lost in the darkness, until by chance they stumbled upon Armand's house. That night, after finally getting them settled, Armand sat quietly in the kitchen. The house was silent except for the weak breathing of the old woman and the faint hum of the storm. He knew bringing strangers into the house was risky. He didn't know their past, their troubles, or who might be looking for them. But he also knew what it felt like to be desperate, scared, and alone. And somewhere deep inside, he felt that this was something he was meant to do, something his late wife would have done. Morning arrived with a sudden stillness, the kind that felt like a pause in time. Armand brewed tea and stepped outside to get fresh air. That's when he saw it, a black SUV parked quietly at the edge of the dirt road leading to his home. Its tinted windows made it look intimidating, out of place, and loaded with unspoken questions. Armand felt a chill crawl up his spine. Had someone come for the boy? Were they in danger? Was his own daughter at risk? He stood frozen as the door of the SUV opened and a tall man stepped out, well-dressed and carrying an expression that was hard to read. The man approached slowly, raising a hand as if to show he meant no harm. He introduced himself as Malik, a social worker and independent volunteer who had been searching for Rafi and Nargis for days. Their names had been circulated among the rescue groups after they had gone missing during the storm. They weren't criminals, nor were they running from anyone dangerous. They were simply lost souls slipping through the cracks of society. Malik had tracked them across towns, following faint leads until they led him here. But what happened next felt like a miracle Armand hadn't expected. Malik didn't just want to take them to a shelter. He had come with news. Donations had been raised by people online after hearing about the elderly woman and her grandson wandering in the storm. A foundation had stepped forward to help them find a home and pay for medical care. Yet the foundation wanted to know where the pair had found refuge during the storm, where they had received kindness without conditions. Malik revealed that those who show compassion during crises were to be considered for a new community assistance program, one that supported families who stepped up for others. Armand didn't fully understand what that meant, but he felt overwhelmed by the thought that his small act of humanity had drawn so much attention. Malik walked through the house, spoke gently with Rafi and Nargis, and saw that Armand had done everything he could despite his own struggles. He noted the patched-up roof, the empty fridge, the simple but warm setup of the living space. When he came back outside, he told Arman that the foundation had decided something unexpected. They weren't just helping Rafi and Nargis, they wanted to help him too. A week later, construction trucks pulled up near the house. Volunteers began repairing the roof, repainting the walls, and restoring everything that had fallen apart over the years. Donations poured in: groceries, clothes, medicine, and even new school supplies for Hania. Most astonishingly, they arranged for Arman to receive a full-time job at a nearby auto service center with better pay and benefits, all because he had opened his home to two strangers in need. As days turned into weeks, Rafi and Nargis stayed at the house during the transition. Nargis received proper medical care and regained enough strength to smile again. Rafi and Hania became inseparable, playing in the yard and helping in the garden. The house, once burdened by silence and grief, now echoed with laughter and life. Arman began waking up with a sense of hope he hadn't felt in years. Eventually, the foundation arranged a small home for Nargis and Rafi in the same town, close enough for them to visit every day. They became extended family, bonded not by blood but by the night fate intertwined their paths. Arman often stood on the porch, watching the children play, feeling grateful that what started as a storm ended in a new beginning for all of them. If this story touched your heart, please like the video, leave a comment, share it, and subscribe to the channel. Your engagement helps us bring more inspiring stories to those who need a little hope. Before the story ends, here's a special request. Tell us in the comments what kindness means to you. In the end, Arman realized something beautiful, that sometimes life changes not through grand gestures or wealth, but through simple moments when we choose compassion over fear. And the storm that once shook his home had brought him the family, support, and healing he never knew he needed.